On this video, we're going to cover the very popular in our system, Yes Therapy technique. On this video, we're going to cover a few different protocols, follow the leader, and the actual Yes Therapy portion. I don't have anyone to work with today, so I'm going to use you. Yes, you're going to help me participate today in Yes Therapy. So what is Yes Therapy? To start with, Yes Therapy is an update to the old Shen Gong meditations of the system. I've taken the principles, which is kind of like a structured form of prayer, and then put it together in such a way that all you have to do is fill in the blank, and you get what it is that you're asking for, and you can see the results relatively quickly. Now this works especially well on the heavier diseases, such as cancer, tumors, broken bones, anything that would be a heavy or really hard to fix type of illness or injury. The Yes Therapy is one of the best tools to use, and you can see results in just a few minutes. For example, doing the one on the tumor or the cancer, you could actually put your hand on the tumor, and we'll go over it a little bit more in detail later, but you can put your hand on the tumor and you can do the technique, you can say it, and you'll feel the tumor start to shrink within a matter of 60 seconds. It'll just start to shrink, and so every time you do it is every time you get that effect, and so it may shrink 10-20% or more. It may with one shot it may just completely go away, but if you're getting 10% shrinkage every time you do it, odds are if you do it 10 or 12 more times, it'll be gone. And so that's what we're shooting for, is repetition. Hey, it's free, use it. There's a secret to all of this Shun Shin Tao stuff, and that is you have to use it. But anyway, let's go over the technique. The technique, called Follow the Leader, the principle basically states that I will say a group of things, and then you will repeat everything I said after I said it. All of these techniques in Yes Therapy revolve around the can you, will you, please do, thank you. And what that means is everything that we're asking for, let's say for example, my back needs some work, or my shoulders need some work, I could say, can you remove the damage in my back and shoulders? Yes. Will you remove the damage in my back and shoulders? Yes. Please remove the damage in my back and shoulders. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So there's an example of the can you, will you, please do, thank you. We start out with asking, very simply, can you complete this task? Okay. And a lot of people say, well, why are we saying can? Well, because we have this gift of free will, and we may be impeding healing. That's probably why it hasn't healed already. And so this constant saying of yes behind each one of the lines as well, like can you heal or can you remove the damage in my back? Yes. I say yes because that gives compliance, and that's what this technique is all about, and that's what most healing is all about, is compliance. In martial arts, we got lots of different techniques. I can throw a punch, but you can block. And so the same thing is true in healing. I can throw a healing energy out there, but you can refuse to accept it. Okay? Now there are ways of getting around that. However, you're kind of becoming in a gray area where you're invading on free will. And so anyway, asking the can you remove the damage in my back and shoulders? Yes. The yes at the end of it gives compliance to that line. So we go to the next line. Will you remove the damage in my back and shoulders? Okay. Compliance. Yes. See, so will you remove the damage in my back and shoulders? Yes. Okay. Please remove the damage in my back and shoulders. Yes. Thank you. And so after each line, except for the thank you one, I give compliance. This is a very simple principle. This way I absorb as much of the energy without resistance as possible. And what kind of things can we work on with this? For example, could we work on resistance? Absolutely, we could work on resistance. Okay, so that would be a really good starting point for someone. Is, so how would we state that? Okay, can you remove all resistance from my body? Yes. Will you remove all resistance from my body? Yes. Please remove all resistance from my body. Yes. Thank you. Okay. And every time I do this, I can feel energy kind of swarming or gathering in different areas. Now, it doesn't matter, for example, if I don't know what the problem is. Let's say that you have a friend and that friend has a lump on their shoulder, okay? And let's say you don't know if it's a pulled muscle or if it's a nodule or tumor. You have no idea. You're not a doctor and you don't want to diagnose it. Doesn't matter if you know what it is or not. You can simply put your hand over it. This is a version that we call touch and go, okay? So you'll hear some different terminology periodically throughout the video. We have follow the leader, yes therapy, and touch and go. And so with touch and go, I'm not going to do hardly anything different except I'm going to put my hand over that lump or that knot or that whatever. Doesn't matter, just basically whatever it is I don't know that I'm looking at, I'm going to put my hand over it and I'm going to say, right here where my hand is, yes. Can you remove the problems right here where my hand is? Yes. Please remove all the problems right here where my hand is. Yes. Thank you. And even though I might not say it correctly, I might not have my hand in quite the right area, whatever the case may be, you can't really mess this technique up. You'll kind of go into like a semi-trance type of state once you do it a bunch, and so sometimes when you speak, it doesn't necessarily audibly come out right, but it doesn't matter because it's that trance state with the asking permission and the compliance given that does the healing. And so it's kind of like when we go into that reptilian portion of our brain where it shuts the higher brain function down. When you're standing in a reptilian posture or practicing reptilian movements, it becomes very difficult to speak. And so it's the same kind of thing. You'll kind of phase in and out of that as you get better at it. But it again, doesn't matter. You've already set the intent by placing your hand there. So it doesn't matter what the disease or the injury is. It doesn't matter if you accidentally jumble up the can you, will you, please do, thank you. And it doesn't matter if you describe whatever it is right. God knows what you're talking about, and God will heal that, so long as you give compliance for it to be healed. Just a few weeks ago, I was working on a person who had a large tumor, and in working on this tumor for 45 minutes, it was from the size of a 2-liter bottle, went from the size of a 2-liter bottle all the way down by about 65, maybe 70% in about 45 to 55 minutes, simply with doing this technique. So you could calculate that a couple, 3 more sessions and they should be doing pretty good. So yes, therapy is very powerful, but let's take a look at the different ways that it can be used.